Action animes prioritize intense physical conflicts, battles, and high-energy sequences. Within the action genre, the main conflict is usually between two groups with opposing ideals, fighting each other to achieve their goals. Although the action genre is most known for its epic fights, the heart of the genre lies in the personal battles and the growth of individual characters as they come to terms with their strengths or weaknesses in order to achieve their goals. Many people consider Astro Boy to be the earliest example of the action genre in anime. Its existence laid the groundwork for the genre and the whole anime industry, yet Dragon Ball Z was the one to popularize the action genre itself, with the series influencing the entire anime and manga industry, and maybe even the whole world. Without it, we probably wouldn't have the big three and so many other anime. The genre can vary wildly, with series like Naruto and One Piece being known for light-hearted action, and series like Psycho Pass and Attack on Titan for more mature action. Comedy anime prioritize humor and hilarious situations to make the viewer laugh. The main focus in this genre is typically on the interactions between characters, their weird personalities, and the comedic misunderstandings that arise from everyday life. Some comedy anime tend to rely heavily on a specific joke throughout the entire series, which I do think is kind of a hit or miss, because it could get boring eventually. There is a boatload of comedy anime out now, but personally, Konosuba and Gintama just made me burst out in laughter. It might just be my sense of humor, but the way they poke fun in the genre is incredible, leading to the creation of comedic character interactions, ridiculous situations, and straightforward humor. Fantasy anime is one of my favorite genres if done right. This genre features magical powers, unnatural creatures, and everything in between. Fantasy stories can either take place on Earth, which is called urban fantasy, and most animes fall under this, or in a completely different world, which I'll call high fantasy, so as not to confuse the two. A major downside of high fantasy anime nowadays, specifically in the amount of isekai we've been getting recently, is that they tend to over-rely on common tropes, like a self-insert overpowered protagonist, or a cast of one-dimensional female characters. In my opinion, a good fantasy anime just completely disregards these tropes.
Like an ancient magus, Magi, Berserk, Fullmetal Alchemist, Made in Abyss,
and Frieren, all nailing the high fantasy genre perfectly. These animes feature a rich, detailed fantasy world, but most importantly, they all subvert the common fantasy tropes and put their own spin on the genre. With Frieren focusing on mortality and fulfillment, FMA focusing on the cycle of hatred and war, and Made in Abyss, well, let's just say mystery and deep emotional turmoil. Military anime delve deep into warfare, strategic battles, and moral dilemmas faced in combat situations. It can either be in a high fantasy setting or a modern one. It doesn't matter. It just needs to have a group of armed militants as the main focus in the plot. And watching epic battles in anime format just hits different. Series such as the OG Mobile Suit Gundam, Legends of Galactic Heroes, and Kingdom are often the ones credited to popularizing the military genre in the first place. And despite that, even to this day, I still believe Code Geass to be the best military anime of all time. It may sound like glazing, but this anime just nails every part of this genre perfectly. Straight off the bat, you get sent into the action. The pacing is just perfect, as it masterfully blends psychological warfare and tactical brilliance. Romance anime represent falling in love and progressing towards a romantic relationship. The main story focuses on the thoughts and emotions between characters as they come to terms with their feelings. Most romance animes tend to build up suspense and excitement as the series progresses towards the climax, which is usually the confession and often the final episode of the series. A love triangle is a common trope in romance anime. It features a will they won't they dynamic, which creates tension that enhances the overall plot, but some people may find it a bit repetitive or cliche. Sports anime involve, well, you know, sports. This genre is all about characters pushing their limits and growing stronger by themselves or as a team. It can be basketball, football, and even fighting. It just has to be classified as a sport. There are two types of sports anime in this genre. First, there's realism, like in Haikyuu or Slam Dunk. Series like these catch the essence of the sport perfectly and showcase the challenges and hardships you need to succeed. Additionally, they tend to focus way more on character development and interactions between players. On the contrary, we have exaggerated sports anime like Kuroko no Basket or Blue Lock. These animes are over the top, taking the VFX and stakes to another level. This genre deviates from the norm and mostly focuses on individual players and how they handle themselves in an exaggerated version of the sport with auras and special abilities. Isekai directly translates to another world, and it's a subgenre of fantasy. It features characters who are transported or reincarnated into a world different than their own, typically in a high fantasy setting. This genre literally has taken over the anime scene with the introduction of SAO in 2010. There is not a single season where there hasn't been an isekai for a while, simply because it's just popular as heck, even if most of them are just hot garbage. I swear, 90% of the isekai genre is just copy and paste, with eerily similar MCs and no original one-dimensional stories, which I just absolutely hate, especially knowing that this genre can produce some gold, like with Re:Zero, Mushoku Tensei, or Eminence in Shadow. These stories tell a unique and entertaining story. Re:Zero and Mushoku Tensei in particular have some of the best cast and world I've ever seen in isekai. Not to mention the characters are actually complex and have their own flaws and goals. Apart from that, we have Eminence in Shadow, an isekai shamelessly embracing every isekai trope, but in a good way. This series continuously creates intense and humorous moments with a surprisingly coherent story and well-written characters that makes you feel attached to the world featured in the show. Shonen is technically not a genre, it's a demographic targeted towards young boys aged 11 to 18. It's the most influential demographic, being the one to popularize anime throughout the entire world, single-handedly shaping the entire industry. This demographic tends to be action and fighting focused, with less emphasis on romantic relationships, which are often minimal and come and go. There's a variety of genres featured here, but it mostly features action series such as One Piece, Demon Slayer, and Dragon Ball. These animes are classified as battle shonen. They usually center around the young male protagonist who embarks on a journey or quest. These characters often start as underdogs and grow stronger through training, battles, and personal experiences. Battle shonen make up the majority of this demographic, but there are also series such as Spy X Family, Love is War, and Nisekoi, which also fit the demographic, but are not the typical battle shonen. Seinen is the counterpart to shonen, aimed at men aged 18 and older. This demographic explores more mature themes and delves deeper into complex narratives compared to its shonen counterpart, often involving more mature themes and gore. The best part about seinen is that they usually have the best character development out of any other demographic. Berserk, Steins Gate, and Vinland Saga are prime examples of seinen series, showcasing rich storytelling and deep themes. Berserk tackles Guts' battle with fate and revenge in a brutal world, emphasizing the struggle of humanity against overwhelming odds. In contrast, Vinland Saga starts with a revenge arc, but shifts to focus on redemption and personal growth. Shoujo is the opposite to shonen, aimed for young girls aged 10 to 18. This demographic tends to have a female lead and focuses more on romance, relationships, and emotional development. Sailor Moon is the most influential and popular shoujo series, bringing the magical girl genre to global popularity. It combines action and romance, featuring a team of strong female protagonists who fight evil and deal with everyday teenage issues. Meanwhile, Fruits Basket explores deeper and emotional themes, such as acceptance and healing, while weaving in elements of fantasy and romance. Time travel is a genre that involves, traveling back in time. This genre allows anime to explore complex themes, such as fate and the consequences of time travel. I consider this genre to have two different types: loop travel, like with Re:Zero, Steins Gate, and Summertime Rendering, and standard time travel, with Erased, Tokyo Revengers, and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Loop travel involves characters reliving the same period in time over and over again, giving them the chance to change events with each attempt. And standard time travel is just going back to a specific point in time in order to achieve a goal or learn about something new. The music genre captures the joys and struggles of characters pursuing their musical dreams. These stories usually feature a group of people who navigate the ups and downs of friendship while creating music together. K-On!, Bocchi the Rock, and Hibike Euphonium are some of the best examples of music anime. The K-On! Anime in particular released all the way back in 2009, and even to this day, it remains as the most influential music anime, inspiring many others. It has an amazing cast of characters who have realistic and relatable reactions with each other, while also capturing the essence of what it means to be in a band. Not to mention the banger music they put out, with the Hokage Tea Time playlist topping the Oricon weekly chart and selling over 67,000 copies back in 2009. The adventure genre in anime is all about thrilling adventures, epic quests, and characters exploring new worlds. The main narrative in this genre is always on how the characters react to sudden events or trials during their journey, indicating personal growth or setback based on which actions or choices are taken. There are tons of adventure anime, but One Piece is just the icon for adventure. The crew consistently find themselves in new and unique situations while traversing tons of islands. But what really makes One Piece so good is how well it does world building and character development. The gourmet genre in anime tantalizes viewers with mouth-watering food and culinary adventures. These series often focus on cooking and the joy of sharing meals. Food Wars is a standout example in this genre. It's basically Hell's Kitchen, I think. It's where aspiring chefs face off in intense, overdramatic cooking battles. This series kind of resembles a battle shonen, with how the cooking competitions are set up, but I've got to admit, the character development and story are just on point. A more recent example is Dungeon Meshi, another unique gourmet series combining fantasy and adventure. It introduces a unique concept of exploring dungeons and cooking up the monsters they encounter. The ecchi genre in anime is all about about, well, fan service and suggestive themes, often with the comedic twist. High School DxD is the most notable example of this. It follows Issei, a high schooler who finds himself surrounded by supernatural beauties. Apart from that, we have To Love Ru, featuring Rito and his hilariously awkward romantic mishaps.